Cold calls are dead. Let's be real. Nobody likes being interrupted at dinner, especially by someone trying to sell them something. So if cold calls don't cut it anymore, then what actually works? Well, the truth is the businesses that are growing the fastest are not dialing strangers. They're not calling strangers. They're not emailing strangers. They're using smarter, modern strategies that make people want to chase them. And so today, I'm going to show you how to kind of reverse this and not chase after people, but get people to chase after you. Think about this. The old school fishermen, they didn't try to catch one fish at a time. They didn't try to catch fish with their bare hands. They cast a net. They cast a net, and that net, that's leverage, because that net allowed them to catch a bunch of fish at one time. And so cold calls are like trying to catch a fish either with your bare hands or trying to catch a fish with a rod, right? It's harder. And so lead generation in today's day and age is like casting a wide net, and it's a magnetic net that attracts the right people to you. And so because we all want exponential growth, we want more leads, more sales, and more profit. But here's the secret. Growth, it does not come from chasing people. It comes from attracting people. That's the secret. It's more about attracting people than chasing people. And it's a whole lot easier too once you get your system down packed. It's a lot easier than chasing after clients and customers. And so let's break down 3 modern lead generation strategies. And the reason why I call it modern, because a lot of the lead generation strategies that people are using are old and outdated. Now, I'm not saying they won't work at all. I'm just saying the older strategies, although they still may work, they're just harder. And you have to work harder, and it takes, it takes a lot longer sometimes depending on what you're doing. And so it's just a lot harder. So I want to break down 3 modern lead generation strategies that go way beyond cold calls. And so the first lead generation strategy is content that converts. Now, content is the new currency. In today's world, attention is more valuable than gold. Yeah, attention is way more valuable than gold, and content is how you buy that attention. Because people, they're either going to pay you with their money or they're going to pay you with attention. And with your content, a lot of times you have to get them to pay you with their attention first before they pay you with their money. Because we live in a world today where people are more skeptical than ever. And so now I love direct response marketing. It's to where you either run ads or it's all about advertising. You run an advertising and you tell them, this is what I got. Let me get your information, or buy now. And I love that. However, we live in a time where people are more and more skeptical. And so because people are more and more skeptical, they want more information, and they want to get to know you more if they don't know you. And so the one way to do that is content. Now, I'm talking about content that converts. I'm not talking about just any content that converts, because here's the difference between content that converts and content that does not. The content that just informs, or you just giving people information, people scroll past that. But content that converts, people stop, they lean in, and they take action. And so think of it like this. Imagine you own a restaurant. One approach is to stand outside yelling, "Hey, we sell food. Hey, we sell food." That's actually what cold calling and cold emailing people is like that. It's like standing in the streets yelling, "We sell food." The other approach is you let the smell of the sizzling steak just drift into the streets. Like when people smell that steak, people come in and they're hungry. That's what content does. That's content that converts. It creates curiosity. When people are curious, they want to see what's going on. And so it creates curiosity. It also creates emotion, right? You want to create content that creates emotion in people, like, because emotion is what moves people to make decisions. And then you want to create content that gives people a desire to taste even more. And so that that's content that converts. So how do you create content that doesn't just entertain and doesn't just inform, but actually brings in leads and sales? Well, there's a couple steps. Step one is you answer burning questions. Answer burning questions. Business owners waste time making content about whatever they want to make and about whatever they want to say. And so when I say make content, I'm not saying to just make whatever you want to make, but you have to make content that they care about. And the things that they care about are their burning questions. They have burning questions about either your product, your service, or just your industry in general. They have burning questions. They as the business owner, as an entrepreneur, you should know the questions that people in your industry have. You should know the questions that potential customers and potential clients have. You should know those questions that they normally ask. And so you want to take those questions that they normally ask, and that's where you start with your content. And so you don't say what you want to say, you say what your audience is already asking, right? Here's an example. Let's just say if you're a fitness coach, instead of saying I offer training programs, you make content or you make a video called 3 foods that secretly stop fat or help you to lose fat, or 3 secrets to help you, 3 secrets that make you gain weight, or whatever the case may be. Because those are the questions that they're asking, like what can I do to stop gaining weight? Like they have questions about weight loss and all that. And so now if you create a video answering that question, 3 secrets to lose weight or whatever, or to gain more muscle or whatever you're trying to promote, now you've entered the conversation that's already going on in their mind. Because here's the thing, people already have a conversation that's going on in their mind. I wonder this, I wonder that, I want to know this. Like they're already having a conversation in their mind with themselves, and you want to create content that answers that question. So that's step one. Step two is to share stories, not stats. So it's easy to start just giving off a bunch of information, but you actually want to share stories. People don't remember numbers and figures and facts and all. They don't remember that. They remember narratives. They remember stories. And so here's an example of this. Instead of saying our software saves 20% more time, tell a story instead. Tell a story about, say, about a client that you had that cut their 10-hour work week down to just 8 hours just by automating a one-time process. And so you tell a story about either a previous client, because stories are sticky and stories are what sell. And so tell stories. And then step 3 is always have a call to action at the end of your content. Whether you're doing long form content on YouTube or short form on Instagram and Facebook, always have some type of call to action to what you want them to do next. Because content without a next step is wasted. And so What I mean by call to action, it doesn't always have to be buy now. It doesn't always have to be that. You can say, subscribe for more. You can say, download this free guide, this free PDF, or you can say book a call or whatever, but just something to give them to do, and because if you don't put a call to action at the end, basically you just give away a free steak, a sample of a free steak, without pointing them in the direction of the kitchen. Because you gave them a piece of steak or a sample of a piece of steak. Now you want to tell them, okay, the kitchen is over here. And so that's what a call to action does. And so let me give you a quick formula to help you kind of remember how you want to structure your content. This is a quick formula. It's called empathize, educate, and invite. Right? Empathize, educate, and invite. Okay, empathize. You want to show them that you get the struggle. You want to talk about the problem. Whatever problem that your solution solves, you want to talk about that problem. That's the first thing you want to do. You want to talk about the problem. You want to show them that you empathize with whatever they're struggling with, whatever it is. You want to show them that you empathize with it. And then you want to educate. You want to educate them, give them value, educate them about either your solution, your product, or just education around this subject matter or whatever you want to educate them. And the reason why you want to empathize first before you educate is because if you just start educating, then it just sounds like a bunch of noise. And when you just start out educating, they're still trying to figure out whether they should listen to you or not. And so they may not always be there if you just start out educating, because they're like, okay, who are you? What are you talking about? What is this? Right? If you just start out educating, first you want to empathize. You want to let them know that you understand their struggle. Then you educate. And when you educate, that's when you give them value. You start talking about your product, your service, or whatever. But you want to give some value before you want to weave in talking about your product, but make sure you're really giving value. I'm not saying sell here. I'm just saying educate them. Educate them on some process, educate them on some best practices or something like that. This is all about education. It's not necessarily selling. It's just educating them about a process or a subject matter or whatever. And then the third thing is invite. Invite, again, you want to offer the next step. That's the call to action. You want to invite them to take a next step. Whatever that next step may be. It could be anything. Because when you build content like this, then your leads, they don't feel like they're being sold. They actually feel like they're being served. And that's what makes them convert when you do it like that. All right, the second lead generation strategy is social selling. Social selling is not about now when I say social selling, obviously people think that, okay, you get on social media and you sell. That's not what I'm talking about. Social selling is not about spamming DMs or pitching people in the comment section. If you go on LinkedIn, you can find a lot of that. Right? People are DMing you and selling, and commenting and trying to say something in the comments. Social selling is not about any of that. It's more about building trust. It's more about building authority and relationships before you try to make the sale. Think about it this way. If content is your fishing net, like I said, you want to cast a net. If content is your fishing net, then social selling is the conversation that you have on the dock. And so you're not yelling across the water, but you're shaking hands, you're listening, you're building relationships that naturally lead to business. Now, this takes some time. It does take time. And that's probably why a lot of people don't want to do it, because it takes a little bit of time to do this. But you can't rush people into buying anyway. So you might as well just let it take the time that it takes, because if people are not ready to buy, there's nothing you can say or do to make them want to buy just because you're in a hurry. And so it takes time, but when it works, it works. Now, why does social selling work today? Well, the reason why it works today is because buyers, they do 70% of their research online before they even talk to anybody. They do their research. Before they even come to your website, they do research. Or if they come to your website first, they'll go to your website, see what you got to offer, and then they'll go and Google and do research and see what's all out there. And then they start comparing. And so social selling works because people are already gonna do their research anyway. And so 70%, they do 70% of their research online before ever talking to a salesperson, before they do research before they ever walk into your building. If you have a building, they do their research. People do their research today before they even go to a church. Like they research the church before they go to the church. People do their research, right? And so that's the thing, because people don't want to be sold. They want to be led by someone they trust. And the reason why they're doing their research is because they're trying to figure out, who can I trust? And so in social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of that, these are the ideal places that your client already spends their time. And so the reason why social selling works is because they're already there. And so you have to find a way to get social with them and start to build those relationships. And so I have a framework for this. This is the 3P, that's hard to say, 3P framework for social selling. Now here's the framework. The first P is presence. Your presence. That means being seen consistently. Show up regularly where your audience hangs out. If your audience is on LinkedIn, show up on LinkedIn regularly, all the time, as much as you can. If they hang out on Instagram, show up on Instagram regularly, frequently, show up. And so they want your presence is there. And then you want share posts, create content where it can be short videos. You can go live if you're bold, and engage in conversations, engage in the comments, engage in some of their posts and their comments, and like and share and all that stuff with them. It's like showing up to the same coffee shop every day, every morning, to the same coffee shop. If you start doing that, people start recognizing you, and then they start trusting you. And then they already know, they know what you like to drink. They know you like a cappuccino or frappuccino or caramel macchiato or whatever you like to drink. They already know because you come every day. Okay, the second P is proof. Proof. Build authority by sharing wins. That's how you show proof. You build authority by sharing some wins that you already have. Share some client stories, some testimonials, some case studies that you already have. Share your wins, because this builds proof. And also, you can build authority by giving value first. Giving value first is giving valuable tips that they can actually use to do something with. Like, give a tip, give an insight on something that they can actually go and implement that, and it can help them. Because if you give them something that can help them, then this is what happens. People know that you can help them because you've already helped them. And if they say, okay, well, if you already helped me, then if I buy something from you, then I know you're really going to help me. And if you already helped me for free. And so think of LinkedIn as your stage, right? Every post is a chance for you to show off your stuff without bragging. You're not bragging, you're just showing proof. And when you show proof, you build authority. All right, the third P is personalization. Personalization. This means engaging one-on-one. Again, comment on people's posts. Reply thoughtfully. Ask questions. Find someone who makes, nice posts, and engage with them one-on-one. And make it thoughtful. really connect with them. Like make your comment and your make it personal to that person. And then if you make it personal with that person and you comment often, then you can DM them. And when you DM them, don't pitch, but just start a conversation, or just say something that either encourages them or something that congratulate them on something or something like that. But if you engage with their posts often and it's personal and they recognize that, then when you do DM them, they're not freaked out by it. And then they know you're not trying to sell them anything because you always comment on their posts. It's like a networking event. The best connections at a networking event, they start with, tell me what you do. Tell me about your business. Tell me about what you got going on. Those are the best conversation starters at a networking event. Not the ones that come to you and like, here's my business card. Here's my business card. We don't like those. And so when you do that, like at a networking event, the same thing happens if you are just going on social media and just trying to get them to buy something. It's just like the dude walking around at a networking event passing out business cards. Same, people have the same reaction. They see you coming and they're like, oh, And so social selling is not fast food. It's more like farming. You plant seeds by posting, and then you water them with engagement, and then you harvest when people raise their hands and say, hey, I want to do business with you. I need what you have to offer. So it's a lot like farming. You have to sow your seeds and wait. Now, the beauty of this is by the time that you actually do all this and then talk to people, they already know, that you are there for them, and they already like you and they already trust you, which means that you're not selling, you're just simply serving someone that you know because they know you. All right, and the third lead generation strategy that we're going to talk about is automated funnels. Let's say, look at it this way. If your content is the bait and your social selling is the conversation, then your automated funnels is your system, because you're going to need a system. Because if you just talk to people and you just try to sell, but you don't have a system, then it's all gonna fall apart. And so funnels is the system, because funnels take strangers and they turn them into prospects, and then they turn them into paying customers, all while you sleep. It happens just like that. And that, again, that's leverage. Think of Henry Ford. Henry Ford didn't just build cars one at a time. He didn't just build cars by hand. He built an assembly line, and the assembly line built the cars. And funnels are your assembly line. They are your assembly line for your leads. They let you scale without you burning out and doing all the hard work yourself. Now, why do automated funnels work? Well, they work because people rarely buy on the first contact. They don't buy on the first contact, so they need multiple touches. And a funnel lets you have multiple touches. A funnel lets you guide them step by step, building trust with them automatically. And I'll talk about more what that looks like in a second. Because instead of chasing people, your system nurtures them. And so it's like your system is chasing them. But really your system is nurturing them until they're ready to buy. Here's a quick framework for automated funnels. The first thing you want to do is start with the lead magnet. Give value first. Start with your lead magnet. Offer something free and useful, whether that's a checklist, a mini course, an ebook, something free or low cost, right? It can be something low cost, a book or something like that. But the goal here is to get their email information and their contact information. That's the goal. This is what marketing is. Marketing is getting their information. So you're marketing with this lead magnet. This is lead generation, right? And so the goal is to capture their email, their contact information. It's like offering the free samples at Costco. People, they taste it, and now if it's good, they want the full meal. The second part of this is a sequence that nurtures. When you have a sequence that nurtures, then you're able to build trust on autopilot. What does this look like? You use automated emails, videos, automated text to educate them and warm them up. And so when you do this because you're going to share value, you're going to address any objections that they may have, and you want to continue telling stories. And so think about it like a drip coffee maker. One drop at a time, it ends up adding to a full pot over time. That's how trust is built, step by step by step. And then the third step with this framework is sell with a simple offer. Have a simple offer. Invite them to buy. Once they're warmed up, then you can make a clear offer, whether that's book a call or buy your program or sign up for your service. Keep it simple. Keep it friction free and make it obvious. You want to be really simple here. Don't be complicated and complex. Really simple. And what I mean by that is, like, if you don't keep it simple, it's like proposing after dating, right? Like, you've dated all this time, now you've proposed, right? Because you don't just pop the question after day one. You date and you build trust, and then the yes feels natural. That person can naturally say yes because you've built a relationship with them over time. It's no different in this, and no different in business. It's no different in selling. And that's how you work your funnel. Because now, here's the thing. Funnels, they don't replace you, they multiply you. And so instead of having 10 sales conversations a week, a funnel lets you warm up 1,000 people while you focus on your best opportunities. And so that is the power of automation. You stop working harder and you start working smarter. Now, here's your move. You want to be able to stop chasing leads that don't want to talk to you, especially if you're chasing them. They don't want to talk to you if you're chasing them. And then you want to start creating systems, start creating content and strategies that make your ideal clients come looking for you.